Hey friends, welcome to another edition of your favorite program, Make It Right with Symbol. It's always my delight catching up with you every time. You know that, right? And today we are looking at something very important. It's called curiosity. Now, curiosity means you're asking why, how. A lot of times, this can unlock a whole lot of information, a whole world of information to you, and this is what we call a fact-finding mission. It looks like you are going around with a lens, looking for an information, a body of knowledge, some kind of truth, and call it whatever you want to, but it is a fact-finding mission. So, what do we really talk about when we talk about curiosity? What are the pros and the cons? You know, when you start looking for something in this context, you are excited because there's a possibility of you finding an answer. Like when you're looking for a cure to a virus, or in the case of what happened to the world recently when a group of scientists from different service providers started looking for vaccines for this COVID-19. So it brings a lot of excitement because you look at it that at the end of the day, it might be the breakthrough for the world. And like I said, you come about some discoveries, in which case, in the case of COVID-19, that happened, and thankfully we're able to achieve herd immunity in lots of countries. I've taken my first dose, I've taken my second dose, I've equally taken a booster shot, and thanks to the discoveries that were made. Now, all of this is about solving a particular problem, which in this case is or was because we just have to find a way to live with the reality of COVID-19. Is solving a problem. And in the process of solving this problem, people gain new knowledge. How does this thing work? How does this thing not work? You see them say they are a trial version and it failed, and they are altering something and all of that. And at the end of the day, we all know that a lot of organizations cashed out. People who made this virus, they made lots and lots and lots and lots of money. So these are some of the pros of going into a fact-finding mission, which the root of it is that you're curious about something, you're asking questions about it. But on the reverse side, you can have cons. And this is something a lot of people dread, and that's why they don't even go into things like this at all. So what are some of these cons? It's time-consuming. When you're going on a fact-finding mission, sometimes it looks like it's never going to end. And some people just waste their whole lives searching for the wind and they never get it. That's really unfortunate. And in the process of that, they become frustrated, some go into depression and what have you. And further to that, some people's family rejects them, society rejects them, and they are also discouraged. Discouragement from people left, right, and center. And they finally discover that they are like in a maze and they never know which way to the other side. So these are some of the cons that you are likely to experience if you go on this fact-finding mission. But the good thing is that you know the pros and you know the cons, and you are aware of what you are likely to face in the course of this. So how do you guide against this? How do you mitigate these things? In fact, is it even worth it going on this fact-finding mission? Let's hear from some global achievers what they perceive about curiosity. Albert Einstein, the greatest man that lived in the 20th century, he said that I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious. You can imagine that. That means everything we did was driven by curiosity. How does this work? How does this work? How can energy be computed? How can this be? How do these things exist? Once you start questioning the status quo, once you start Of course, with a bid to finding answers, to finding truth, not to necessarily find faults in what people have done. There are people that all their questions are to just bring you down, put holes in the successes of others. That's not what we're talking about here. You're asking questions in a bid to make the system better. That's essentially it. And the likes of Disney, who founded the Disney World, we all know what the Disney World is today. It keeps us moving forward. That is curiosity, exploring, experimenting, opening new doors. And that is what Disney represents. It's one of the greatest entertainers of our world today. And they are cashing out big time. Francis Bacon, who was Lord High Chancellor of England, he said, "Who questions much shall learn much and shall retain much." That means if you don't question, you don't learn much and you don't retain much. In my personal life, in my own life, I beg your pardon, I've discovered that a lot of times when I question things, I get answers. I even get more enlightenment than when I just assume, okay, I know this. So make it a culture to be curious. Make it a culture. In fact, the greatest minds in the world, apart from these that I've mentioned, even in today's world, they ask a lot of questions. So, how do you begin? That's the next thing. You see, we're asking questions already. First of all, is that you need to know what you want to achieve. You need to declare your goal, your objective. If you don't have a target, you'll be shooting at the wind, and that's where some of the cons of curiosity can catch up with you, because you won't know when to stop. You won't know if you are hitting the right spots. You won't know if you are achieving your milestones. You need to have a target and end in mind, but you also need to have milestones. If you are going on a project that will take you for 10 years, you can't just, even though you have the big picture that, okay, this is what you want to achieve, but you need to look at it. What do I achieve in 2 years? What do I achieve in 4 years? What do I achieve in 5 years, 7 years? It will help you to calibrate at every point in time. The next thing is you need to be open-minded. Somebody that is curious cannot be closed-minded. It cannot work hand in hand. In fact, there are two parallel things. If you are going to be curious, that means you were even open-minded in the first place. So you need to maintain that openness and seek for answers. You need to accept the fact that you don't know it all, because nobody does in the actual sense of things. And because you are open-minded, it will push you to ask questions. Why? Why is this like this? How is this like this? What is this? Just imagine somebody gives you a fruit that you've never known about, you've never seen, and up it goes into your mouth. God help you if you don't purge. So the next thing is that you need to think objectively. If you're open-minded, you have to be objective at the same time. You cannot be coming to the table with your own perception and expect to find something. No. You have to really think objectively. If this thing doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. If it's beginning to make sense, it's beginning to make sense. If you need to validate some things for it to make sense, do. Then you need to conduct a lot of research. That's what curiosity helps you do. It brings you to that place where you want to begin to seek answers. You need to do research. Research can be involved in form of carrying out survey, reaching out to subject matter experts on certain things, reading books, going on the internet to search for things. Of course, you need to be careful where you get your information from on the internet. It's a world of things, many things. So the next thing is you need to also work with the end in mind. Remember that at the beginning you set an objective, but you also need to work with that end in mind at every time. If you have to deviate from that end in mind, that means you are changing the course of what you are hoping to answer in the first place. So you need to be clear on those things. Then don't be afraid to fail. Everyone who has ended up achieving something grand in life, they were not afraid of failure. At some point, it was that if I fail, I fail, and if I succeed, I succeed. Without that mindset, we won't have electricity today. We won't have the light bulb. We won't. Then you need to give it all it requires. You cannot be half here, half there. You need to go all the way. Then you need to be observant. Some of the greatest scientists in the world are also some of the greatest observers. They observe a lot, from animals to the wind, to light, to lightning, to the sun. They observe, because sometimes the answers you seek for are just in the things around, in nature, in the things that you have been seeing on a day-to-day basis, or you've just not been paying attention. So you have to really be observant. So that's it on curiosity. I hope that with this you can begin to ask yourself some very logical questions, some very basic questions. Some of those questions can even be, what are you here for? What do you want to do with your life? Something as simple as that can set you in the right course. So if you have a business that you want to let the world know about, you have a skill, you have a craft, you have a product, this is your platform. Do not hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll be glad to show the world what you can offer. If you've not been following me, please follow me on our different social media platforms, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. You can follow us, and always make sure that you reach out in case you have any business or any clarifications you want to make. Remember that as long as there is life, you can make it right. It's simple. Till we meet again next time.